Summer Game Fest is officially over for another year, and in total I've added 114 games to my wishlist. So I thought I would compile all those games into one big video so I can look back at it in the future and see if these games actually lived up to my expectations, and also so you yourself might find a few more games to play in the next few months. Now, to make sure this video isn't stupidly long, I've took that list of 114 games and I've cut out anything that you've definitely heard of. There's no point in me showcasing Assassin's Creed. I've took out anything that didn't convey proper gameplay. You know, it's hard to get excited for Quidditch Champions with a CG trailer. And then just in general, I've took out anything that I don't have much to say about. For example, I'm not a Gears of War fan, so I can't actually say anything substantial about E-Day. So after all of those games have been taken off the list, we're left with a list of 77 games. That's still a lot. So to make it simple, we'll just be going chronologically through the showcases, starting at the kickoff show and ending with the Nintendo Direct. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just get started. Neva, from the developers behind Gris, still looks great, it's colourful, the music is wonderful, and we got a quick look at combat, which looks to be as stylish as the rest of the game. Tears of Metal is a roguelike, where you recruit soldiers and upgrade them to take back Scotland. I feel like we've been seeing more and more games set here recently, so this is a welcome addition. Next we had Jason Blum and Louise Blaine come out to announce the Blumhouse Games publishing arm. The first game that caught my eye was Fear the Spotlight. What's interesting about this one is the game actually came out last year and then got pulled when they signed this deal with Blumhouse. The final version will obviously have more content, but you can actually check out some Let's Plays to see what the game will be like right now. We also saw the simulation, where you're going to have to use the developer mode of a fictional video game to solve a crime. And there is no gameplay or anything, but Sam Barlow's next game, Project C, got announced in collaboration with Brandon Cronenberg. All we know so far is this will be another FMV game, so think of something like Immortality but with presumably a much bigger budget.
There's a reason why I'm called Killer Bean. It's because I'm good at what I do. Really. Really.
I'm not joking here, but doesn't Killer Bean actually look quite good? I'm not familiar with all the history here, but it generally just looks stupid and fun, and I'll play any game that has a German suplex in it. I was a big fan of Jusant from last year, so I'll take any opportunity to go mountain climbing again. Cairn looks a lot more realistic, and looks like it's got more of a survival take. You're going to have to explore and find the correct path up the mountain, but I'm sure when you get to the top you'll feel satisfied.
I'm not meant to be here.
Wanderstop is a cozy farming game where you make tea, which sounds like it could be one of the most generic indie games ever made. But with David Redden working on it, it can't just be that right?
I can stop. I can stop. I can stop running. This is good for me. I need to enjoy this. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy.
So yeah, there's a lot more going on here, but I also genuinely feel like the farming stuff is going to be done really well. And this is one of my most anticipated games at the moment. Next we had Inner Sloth announce their indie fund Outer Sloth.
What's up, gamers?
It's so cool to see them give back to the dev community, and as a big fan of Outer Loop games, I can't wait to play Project Dosa. I'm not much of a survival MMO guy, but I just thought this image of Jeff explaining Dune lore was so funny, and if this does well, we might get more Dune games.
The only peace I find is a future that never happened. One where I, Paul Atreides, was never born. No Muad'Dib. No Lisan al-Gaib. No Kwisatz Haderach.
Ooh, it turns out you're not the Kwisatz Haderach. Sorry. You could be like the Kwisatz Haderach's like great uncle or something like that. Yeah, maybe like, I don't know, your fucking sister's grandkid might be the Kwisatz Haderach or something like that, but your ass, I don't think so.
A wee quick one because it's already out and I've already played it. Alan Wake 2 got its first DLC and it's great.
I'm in danger. Please, my #1 fan. You're the only one who can save me.
And to close out the kickoff show, we saw skate gameplay. I'm not much of a skate guy and I'm hoping to get into this one, but I love that they got Tim Robinson for this, and I hope he's somehow playable.
We think this town rules.
He goes as fast as he can towards curbs with no trick in mind. He doesn't have a clue what he's gonna do, and he never figures it out! Fuck yeah!
I can do anything, be anyone that I
Day of the Dev started out with Simpler Minds. I thought the music used here was great and the game just looks so nice. Simpler Minds is out now and it's just a game where you chill out and interact with stuff. The devs put it best when they described the game as just vibes. UFO 50 is a collection of 50 different fictional video games that released between 1982 and 1990. The games are all different genres and made by different indie devs. Obviously some of the games will be hit and miss, but even if the game ends up being £50, that's £1 each per game, which is a great deal. And I bet there will be at least a handful of special games in here. This is a bit of a weird one, but I still wanted to mention it. Cozy Grove is an Animal Crossing-like that I played during COVID. I would turn on my PS5 and play for about 15 minutes before moving on to whatever other game I was playing at that time. And I played the game basically every day from April till July. This is Cozy Grove 2, which at the moment is mobile only and out now exclusively on Netflix. I don't play many games on mobile, so this is maybe one to watch if it ever comes back to consoles. Koira is a puzzle adventure game with an emphasis on sound and music, so instead of me talking over it, I just check out the trailer yourself. A quick one because it's out so soon. Arranger is a puzzle game where the floor moves when you move. It has the potential to either be brilliant or very annoying, but I guess we'll find out next month when it comes out. And another quick one, Screenbound is a puzzle game where you navigate on a 2D and 3D plane at the exact same time. This one has a lot of potential, but again this is one where you need to wait till it comes out to see if it's just a cool gimmick or genre defining game design. Building Relationships first caught my eye with its great art style. It's a game where you play as a house, explore an island and meet other buildings. The developer described it as
a short hike but stupid,
which is all you can ask for. Hello Again is a time loop adventure game where you get info and solve puzzles. And again, the developer can sum up the game much better than me.
So, in short, what happens when you mix the gameplay and mechanics of Outer Wilds with the vibes of Animal Crossing and the small town feel of Groundhog Day? The answer is Hello Again, coming in 2025.
Afterlove EP is a narrative game about dealing with loss and grief, and what makes this game particularly special is that this is the final project from Mohamed Fahmy, who passed away in 2022. He was the creative director and founder of the dev team Pixelnesia, and the rest of the team have stayed on the project to complete the game in his vision and in his honour. Obviously it's hard not to think about the game's premise and its real life development story. It comes out later this year, and this is going to be an emotional one. I've never seen a game that looks like Phoenix Springs. It's a puzzle adventure game, and I feel like getting to see more of this art style is the perfect reward for solving a puzzle. This one still feels like a long way out, but the Road 96 devs are making a similar choice-based narrative game called Tides of Tomorrow. Dungeon Crawler is a Slay the Spire-like, except instead of using cards, you use a claw machine. I watched Northern Lion play the demo and it looked promising, and I'm eager to see how the progression works in the full game. A critically acclaimed game from last year, Slay the Princess, is getting a PS5 port with new content, and it's been so cool seeing this game's further success recently after Markiplier played it. The Wholesome Direct had a lot for me this year, starting with Caravan Sandwitch. This is an adventure game with no combat, no game over, no timer, just you and your van. The world looks super detailed and it's visually stunning. During the course of the game you'll chat to people, upgrade your van and solve puzzles. There's a demo on Steam now, but the game will be out later this year. But what if you took that caravan and turned it into a tiny bookshop? This is a cozy management game where you'll be selling books to the locals in this small town. I'm not usually one for creative art games because my completionist gamer brain just tries to min-max them, but Itae's art style might sway me. In this game you're going to be exploring this small town, which will give you inspiration to paint objects. It looks like a slow, thoughtful game, which will be great to just chill out with, and it's out later this month. This County is a shopkeeper simulator, which is actually perfect for my completionist brain. It'll be a game where you keep upgrading and getting bigger and better stuff, and similar to Wanderstop, it seems to have a twist, commenting on that exact aspect of the game.
You've got bills to pay, employees to hire, ads to run. Remember, all relations are customer relations. And time is money. Money means growth, and growth
Everything's on sale proudly. Where are we going? Discounting.
Coming to your community in 2025.
I'm actually a big Picross fan, but I've yet to find a version of it that's made me keep playing outside of the actual puzzles. After you solve a puzzle in Squeakross, it makes furniture for you to decorate a mouse's house. So there could be a great progression system here that would just give you that bonus reason to keep playing. In Critter Cafe, you'll explore and solve puzzles to find critters and then bring them back to the cafe. There's not much detail out here about how the game will actually work, but the main reason I wanted to showcase this is because Sumo Digital were hit with layoffs just a few days after this game was announced, so I wanted to support this and hopefully it makes its way to a full release. Garden of the Sea was a farming game that released in VR on PC in 2019, and then it came out again on PSVR 2 last year. This year it's coming out of VR on Switch and PC, and I'm just kind of curious about this one, because it still looks like a VR game, unless they're just using old footage, which seems odd. I'm going to keep an eye on this one, but we'll just wait and see. Isla, a Frosty Glide is another game I've seen compared to a short hike and that you just explore the world and have fun, with your escape room at your side. This one's a long ways away with a Kickstarter coming soon, but there was a demo on Steam that's been received positively from what I've seen. Fruitbus is another vehicle shop management sim, but this time you're collecting fruit and selling smoothies in your bus. It's coming out later this year and I'm a big fan of the animations they showed. Little Lands looks like an indie version of Link's Awakening, but in my opinion it just looks like so much more. I just think the art style works so well here and instantly sold me on this game. You could easily write this game off as just a Spot the Difference, but just like Little Lands, Tiny Lands 2 just has a great art style, so if you're just going to be staring at the details of an image, at least the image looks this good. Spilled showed up again. I've been following this for a while now. It's an incremental game where you clean up oil spills and upgrade your ship. It's made by a solo dev, but in this showcase they announced a graphics overhaul after they hired a tech artist. I believe the game is meant to be launching around November this year, so it's nice just to see the game get some polish before its final release. And there was also a new demo coming out this week. These next two games were hidden in a montage for Sedesco Games. Petit Island looks like another a short hike / Chia-like, and Albatross is a narrative game focused on hiking and exploring. From what I can tell, they're taking RPG mechanics and applying them to backpacking. So imagine Final Fantasy 15 but without all the fantasy. Sopa, Tale of the Stolen Potato is a narrative adventure game that seems to be very creative. It's launching in August this year, however I had an issue finding any actual gameplay for this one, and also the Steam page mentions it'll be coming out on PlayStation, but I can't find that anywhere else. So I'm not sure about this one because there's so little info on a game that comes out next month, but keep an eye on it. Goodlands is a game so inspired by a short hike that I genuinely thought it was the same dev. We just got a short clip here, but it's a game where you explore the desert to find fossils and then fill up the museum Animal Crossing style. And to round off the Wholesome Direct, we have Map, a game about maps. One of my favourite parts of Chia was that there was no proper in-game map. However, with all the other stuff going on in the game, there wasn't much detail in that particular mechanic. And it looks like Map puts detail in that mechanic. You're going to explore the island and map it out, and if it's done well, I feel like this will be a great combination of exploration and puzzles. I've highlighted these next two games purely for the art style. Prisma is another JRPG from the Crystals developers, and it just has such a sense of style. And The Coldest Winter is a visual novel with an emphasis on the visual. Despelote is about football and culture, set in 2001 when Ecuador first qualified for the World Cup. This feels like it could be quite emotional, and just a nice time machine style education about what Ecuador was like back then, and the joys of being a small footballing nation.
Despelote, a game by Julian Cordero and Sebastián Balbuena.
Duck Detective is already out. I feel like we've been getting more and more detective games recently, and this just seems like a fun and silly one. The Crush House is a Love Island-like. You choose your cast and match them up to spike the TV ratings. It looks like there'll be a lot of replayability, and above all, it just looks stupid. And just like some other games we've mentioned, at the end of the trailer there was a wee tease of something else going on here. From a duck detective to a cat detective, Albert Wild Quantum PI is just another game that oozes style, and it just has such a brilliant wee poster. Solitaire is a conversation sim with some card-based gameplay along the way. It's a game you can play with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just get swept away in the stories. But it also gives you something else to do to break it up a bit, and apparently the way you solve the puzzles will change the story. Widow is a very simple game where you just need to find the object, but it looks amazing and seems like a nice chill game where you can zoom in to see all the details the developers have made. The Star Named EOS is a narrative game with a focus on photography, and again I just think this looks great visually, and it's got some fun puzzles to keep you occupied between story beats. Co-op puzzle games are the most underrated genre of games, so no matter how good In Sync actually ends up being, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a prologue out now on Steam that I'm going to try and make time for soon. Threadgy's final DLC got a date. I got the platinum in this a while back, so I guess it's time to finally get that video edited and get ready for the Iron Rig. We got a final look at Skim. It's a game I've been following for a while now, where you need to make your way through these environments while staying in the shadows, and it's out in just 2 weeks. Parcel Corps is Crazy Taxi on a bike. You'll have to grind and flip your way around this colourful city while delivering parcels. Movement seems tight and it looks like the game has a great sense of humour, and it's going to be out quite soon.
September 3rd.
That's right, on
September 3rd.
At the Xbox show we got a CG and then later we got a gameplay trailer for Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I mean, the Veilguard. It does look a lot different and I've got a lot of thoughts on this one, but I'm going to keep it simple with a cautious wait and see. I plan on going back and replaying the previous games very soon in preparation for this one, and hopefully we get a satisfying conclusion after waiting on that cliffhanger for 10 years. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 had one of the best trailers of the show, a western style RPG with Persona style UI with Paper Mario style gameplay. Sign me up. I was so impressed by South of Midnight. The Spider-Verse style animation on twos gives the game a unique look, the combat looks solid, and I love the theme of bringing beauty back to the natural world. But the most interesting thing I found about the game was the dissonant music. I'm not sure if this will actually be part of the game, or it was just used for effect in the trailer, but I hope we get more of this weird stuff in the full game, because I've never actually seen anything like this before. Flintlock is another game that sold me almost entirely on how good the actual trailer was edited. And it's also out in 2 weeks. I've never played Perfect Dark, so I didn't recognise Joanna, and I guess I also missed the initiative logo at the start of the trailer, but I originally got very excited for this because I thought it was the new Arcane game. I love the immersive sim stuff here of recording a guard's voice and then using it to open a lock, but it turns out this is actually the new Perfect Dark, and it probably had the best trailer of the show in terms of actually conveying gameplay, because I've went from having zero interest in this to playing it day one. I know I said I wouldn't be talking about games that didn't actually show anything, but I'm a huge Fable fan. So for my 8 to 11 year old self who thought fart jokes were the funniest thing ever, I just had to include this. One of my favourite small things about the Fable series is how they got so many random British actors and comedians to be in the games, so seeing Superhands here gives me high hopes.
Who better to tell you all about them than perhaps the greatest hero of them all, yeah?
Where summers lasted forever, when friendships were unbreakable, and any trouble was good trouble.
I know this is technically a PlayStation channel, but we have to admit the Xbox show was amazing. Mixtape was another one of my highlights from the whole group of showcases. You can almost feel the love that went into making this game coming back out. I really liked Artful Escape as an experience, but the story was just a bit out there for me, so I'm really excited to get a similar visual and audio delight, but with a much more grounded and relatable story.
It felt important at the time.
Another cautious wait and see here, but I'm a big fan of the Life is Strange games. When Deck 9 took over and True Colours was announced, I cautiously wait and saw, and actually loved it. However, I'm not a huge fan of bringing Max back, and I feel like they're going to have a hard time keeping old fans happy. And for the game where avoiding spoilers is so important, I'm really not a fan of charging £25 to play the first 2 chapters 2 weeks early. But like I said, let's just wait and see how this one actually turns out.
I say the lines, the syllables, got it memorized so I can make you stop. You treat me like a criminal, so why shouldn't I treat you like you're a cop?
If you like the look of Isla and Parcel Corps, but you wish they were the one game, then check out Crescent County. This is a witch delivery game. It looks colourful, they showed some humour in the trailer, and they also had a licensed song, which to me just screams confidence, and convinced me that I should be confident that this game will be great.
You bring the police to my door? To my rig?
I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Don't you answer me back! You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
Happy New Year to you too, you cunt.
Still Wakes the Deep has been out for a while now and has been getting praise all over, mainly for the authentic Scottish accents. So here's a quick wee shout out from a Scotsman.
Benny Harvey, R.I.P. Miss you, big man. Gone but not forgotten. It is it!
The Case of the Golden Idol came out to critical acclaim, but it was only available on PC and Switch. But the sequel is coming out this year and it will be launching on PS5 when it comes out. Now before we end with the Nintendo Direct, here's some games that weren't at a showcase, but I just found through Twitter or other means. Motor Slice is an atmospheric Mirror's Edge with a chainsaw. It's got a simple but effective art style, smooth and innovative movement, with some great kinetic music in the background. The Big Catch is a collectathon with a huge emphasis on movement. You can use your fishing rod in all manners of different ways to explore the world and collect all the goodies. You can bet there'll be hard challenges and lots of secrets to find, and there is also a free prologue out on Steam right now, which is apparently around 8 to 10 hours long, which just seems insane to me. I found both of these games from videos that NoCaps made, so if you like the look of them, head over to their channel for some more indie recommendations. Flock is a game published by Annapurna about finding birds, adding them to your flock, and herding sheep across the land. This just looks like a delightful wee game, and again, it's out in 2 weeks. Clickholding is the next game from one of the hardest working studios on the planet, Strange Scaffold. It's a game where you sit in a chair and click. I'm a big incremental game fan, and at this point it's unclear if this will have real incremental gameplay or if it will just be more of a narrative art piece, but either way it looks interesting, and also it's out in 2 weeks. So if you wanted to, you could double bill this and Flock, which surely won't give you any tonal whiplash. Goodnight Universe is the next game from the Before Your Eyes team. And while Before Your Eyes was more of a narrative art piece, this looks like it will have more defined gameplay using their previous webcam blink interface system. It literally just got announced, so this won't be coming out anytime soon, but I thought Before Your Eyes was the start of a huge leap in game design, so I'll definitely be saying goodnight to the universe on day one. Mythrict is a game where you befriend gods with amnesia, find out things they like, and explore the island to find secrets and items to help them remember who they were. This actually got announced a while ago, but I mainly just wanted to talk about it now because I found out they're based in Dundee. This might seem like a weird shout, but Hello Kitty Island Adventure came out exclusively on Apple Arcade last year, and apparently it's actually really good. And at the Direct, they announced it will be coming to consoles, including PS5, so this is basically a reverse of the Cozy Grove situation. For some reason the trailer they showed for Funko Fusion looked awful, but I found this other one that looks alright. This is a spiritual successor to the LEGO games, made by a bunch of devs who used to work on them, and it's got a lot of the big licenses you'd expect. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, He-Man, but shockingly, I found out it also has Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim and Nope, which I just find fascinating. So who knows if this game will actually be good, but there is now a licensed Hot Fuzz video game. I saw a lot of people excited for this, but I wasn't familiar with the Denpa Men before I saw this, but it reminded me a lot of Street Pass Quest, so I was sold instantly. One thing that does concern me however, is that the trailer says it's free to play, but the YouTube description says it's basically free to play. Like, what does that actually mean? It's very fitting that we saved the best till last, because Echoes of Wisdom is my game of the show. At first I thought this was just Link's Awakening 2, and then I thought it was Link's Awakening 2 but you play Zelda. But it's actually like a weird indie puzzle game, where you can copy any object and place it down in the world. If there's actually zero limitations, which is what it looks like in the trailer, then this game is going to be so unique and so interesting. It's going to be those Twitter videos of Tears of the Kingdom all over again. What happens if you place 100 beds on top of each other again and again and again? Can you just easily defeat any boss by spamming 1,000 enemies? I need to see more of this game because I can't believe that this is actually what it is. So that was 77 games that I think look good from this year's Key 3, and I hope that at least a few games here have caught your eye. Subscribe if you're new and let me know what games you're looking forward to this year, whether they were in this video or not.